What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking about a really big change that I noticed with Call of Duty Black Ops 4 from the reveal event to the E3 event, where I was fortunate enough for Activision to fly me out to both of those events. I've been able to play the game at both of those events, as well as capture gameplay for you guys. Unfortunately, from the E3 event, my gameplay was all corrupted, so it's unusable. Therefore, I am going to be playing another one of FaZe Censor's gameplays in the background. I will leave a link to his channel down below if you guys want to go check that out. So this big change was actually to the Stim shot, as well as the standard healing in Black Ops 4. For those of you guys that haven't seen gameplay yet, you do have to manually heal yourself in Black Ops 4. This is a big change in Call of Duty, something we've never really seen before in Call of Duty. And in addition to the standard healing where you inject yourself with adrenaline, you can also use a piece of gear called Stim shot. And what Stim shot does is it allows you to keep your gun up while you're injecting yourself. It heals you instantly, and at least in the reveal build, so the older build of the game that we had access to, it would also have a much faster cooldown time than the standard healing, so you could pop that Stim shot just constantly over and over again and keep yourself up at 150 health. So just having a look at the pre-patch numbers, with the standard healing, you would actually heal over time after you inject yourself. You heal 5 health points every 100 milliseconds. So in total, if you were at just like 1 health, it would take you 3 seconds total to completely heal yourself over time once you've injected yourself. Then after you've reached full health from healing yourself, this is when that cooldown timer starts, and it would take another 8 seconds before you could inject yourself again. With Stim, like I said, that healing time was essentially instant the moment you inject yourself. If you're at 1 health or if you're at 130 health, it doesn't really matter, it's the same thing. You will pretty much be instantly healed once that needle hits you. Then after that, it would take just 1.6 seconds before you could use it again. So you could just constantly spam that. And this made the Stim shot in the reveal build of the game 100% overpowered and a crutch piece of gear. If you weren't using that and you were using something else, in my opinion, you were doing something wrong in that build of the game. The developers have definitely recognized that, and now things have changed quite significantly with how the standard healing as well as the Stim shot healing works. Now the standard healing hasn't changed a ton, but it has definitely been changed a little bit. So first up, instead of 5 HP every 100 milliseconds, you now heal up 4 HP every 100 milliseconds if you're not using Stim shot. So a slight nerf to the amount of time that it takes you to go from like 0 health, or 1 health I should say, up to 150 health once you've injected yourself the standard way. So instead of 3 seconds to go from 1 health to 150, it now takes approximately 3.75 seconds to go from 1 health to 150. So a slight nerf there, but a buff to the cooldown time for the standard cooldown of healing yourself. So this is without Stim shot once again. Instead of 8 seconds, that cooldown timer is now just 6 seconds. And 2 seconds of Call of Duty is very, very noticeable. So that's the standard healing. Now let's have a look at the Stim shot. And the Stim shot did get a very noticeable nerf from the reveal event build, which it really needed, like I said. So with the Stim shot, it's still going to be an instant heal once you've injected yourself. That hasn't changed from the reveal build of the game. That's still the big benefit of the Stim shot, is the moment you hit yourself with that needle, you're back up to full health. Another benefit with the Stim shot is, unlike the standard healing, you can do it with one hand. So you keep your gun up, you can still hip fire your gun while you're injecting yourself. Whereas with the standard healing, you actually use your right hand, so you put your gun away to heal yourself, and therefore you're a little bit more vulnerable. That's exactly the same as well. They haven't changed that at all. You still keep your gun up with the Stim shot when you're injecting yourself. But the big nerf came to the cooldown time. After you've injected yourself with the Stim shot, like I said, pre-patch it was just 1.6 seconds before you could use it again. Post-patch, it's actually an 8-second cooldown for the Stim shot. So a massive change to the cooldown time on the Stim shot. And you'll probably notice right away that that cooldown timer on the Stim shot is actually longer than the cooldown timer on the regular healing. And that seems completely wrong, that seems completely backwards, but when you factor in the healing time once you've injected yourself, it's still faster to use the Stim shot. You can still spam the Stim shot faster than standard healing, because you don't have to wait that 3+ seconds after injecting yourself before that cooldown timer even begins. It begins instantly with Stim shots, and then 8 seconds later you can use the Stim shot again. So very clearly a huge nerf to the Stim shot when it comes to the cooldown timer, and I actually really like this change. Stim shot is still a great piece of gear. I'm going to be using it on a lot of my rushing classes in this current state. It's still excellent for getting you up to instant health, so if you take some damage, you can take cover really quickly, get yourself to instant health, and then be back in the fight with full health. Plus you can keep your gun up the whole time, which is really beneficial. Now though, it's not necessarily the obvious choice in the gear section. I definitely felt more free to branch out and try other things like body armor or the ComSec device, which is basically like hardline so you get your streaks faster, or the acoustic sensor, which gives you like sixth sense as well as awareness, so you can hear footsteps better, as well as you get that little mini-map indicator when enemies get close to you. In the E3 build of the game, I feel like Stim Shot was much more balanced, and it's more along the lines of where it should be. Another thing I wanted to point out, just like a general thing I wanted to mention with the healing in this game, is in the reveal build of the game, we didn't get a whole lot of gameplay time, but we got a little bit here and there. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend the Treyarch studio and do a live stream, so I actually got more gameplay time than most people. And by the end of it, I was still just like a little bit skeptical about the manual healing. I just wanted to mention, when I went back to E3, once I've got it in my mind that the manual healing is there, I've used it a little bit, I've gotten a feel for it before. When I got to E3 and I played this game again, it felt very natural to be manually healing myself. I'm actually looking forward to that manual healing now, because you can do some things that you aren't able to do in other Call of Duty games where you don't have manual healing. I can actually be a lot more aggressive in situations with manual healing. I've just got to think about it a little bit. I've got to be smart about that because I have to wait for that cooldown timer, even if I'm using Stim Shot. So that's just a general note I wanted to tack on here and just kind of share my updated feelings on this manual healing system in Black Ops 4. I'm actually really looking forward to this now, and I'm quite optimistic about how the community is eventually going to take this once they get their hands on the game and get some real gameplay time into it. You just have to give it a chance, and I think you're really going to like it. And with that pretty much covers it for today's video. I just wanted to mention that change with the Stim Shot. A lot of people have been wondering about like how much has it changed. So I wanted to share those numbers with you. There were a bunch of other smaller changes, things that you probably would never notice unless you were looking very closely. Like a few of the score streaks had some updated score values, so they add a little bit of score to a couple things, took a little bit of score away. But again, if you haven't even played the game before, it's not something you would likely ever notice. And therefore, I just wanted to cover the Stim Shot, because that's something that was very, very noticeable the very first game I played. And with that, as always, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about this change to the Stim Shot as well as the manual healing? The manual healing technically got a little bit of a buff overall, I would say. And then the Stim Shot got that very noticeable nerf to bring it in line with the other gear. What do you guys think about these changes? And how are you feeling about the manual health regeneration? Are you willing to give it a shot? Or are you still completely against this manual healing system? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time. Yeah.